All right, first off, I'd like to say thank you for purchasing my Radiator relocation kit. This will be the install video. I'll be going over what it takes to install it and some of the tools needed and how it's packaged, and what the kit comes with. So first off, it obviously comes with the radiator, fans, wiring harness, and hoses mounted to it. Backside, there's the hoses with the fittings in them already. That's for the overflow bottle. And then the attached wiring harness. Next would be the 1-inch heater hose with clamps and fittings on both sides. It will be labeled for the upper, which would be this one over here. And then the lower, which would be obviously that one over there. They also come with zip ties to zip tie the wiring harness to the frame and the radiator hose in certain locations. These zip ties with the holes in the top are for the wiring harness. 2 screws for the wiring harness zip ties, and a nut bolt, nylock nut, and spacer for the overflow bottle. Now for the install portion of it, first off, you're going to want to start off by mounting the bracket to the radiator itself. You can leave everything, finger tight. You don't want to snug anything down yet. Put it on finger tight, kind of rest it in place, because you will have to trim the corner of the bed for the radiator on each side. Yeah, on that side, you just want to rest it in just so you can see where you've got to trim. I mean, you could heat it up with a heat gun and kind of mold it out of the way on the passenger side of the car, but the driver's side for the for the drain on the radiator, you will have to notch it out for the drain. I put this 90 elbow in it with this bolt just because plastic, and we take these things off-roading, so this will take a better shot than that plastic thing. So this will be included with the kit. It's completely up to you whether you want to run this or that plastic butterfly. So then once you get that hole cut on each side, you can you'll want to, while resting it in, the bottom of the radiator, there's 2 tabs, 2 little prongs that kind of stick out. You're going to want to kind of mark the location on where it sits in the bed and just drill a hole. There's nothing under there that you'll damage. You'll just drill a hole just so it has somewhere to kind of rest. You can go the same size or a little bit bigger than what the hole is, just to give it a little play if you want. So then once you got those 2 holes drilled and the corners cut out, you can then set the radiator in place and bolt it down. Everything will be nut, bolt, washer, nylock nut. Here, 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 and here. And for the most part, this is how it'll mount for all kits with the factory cage. It'll be the same exact mounting, just like this. Now once you get it mounted into place, you can then go and run the coolant lines, which this will already be attached with a union in the end of it. You'll take your heater hose, it's labeled upper, so that'll go for the upper one. You'll take the one that goes for the lower one. You'll kind of just want to rest it in place where it'll be, just to make sure, because I cut them a little long. They're for specific areas, but there's a little extra length to them, just in case you have to trim or you decide to route it a little bit different. But for the most part, I made all kits to run the exact same way, unless we discussed otherwise while you were purchasing it. So then you'll run it through here. You'll want to use a hole saw that's a little bit bigger than the outside diameter of the hose. Mine's not 1 inch. I went with a little smaller. I'll be switching it to 1 inch. So you take this crease line right here, just after the Y. This is about the center of the hole, and I drilled down at an angle to kind of elongate the hole. And then the same thing with here. It's basically straight down. This corner crease right here, this farthest one, it's about 1 inch over from there. And I did the same thing. I drilled down at an angle just to elongate the hole. So then your lower hose will run down through the inside hole, and they both come out down here. One will be on the outside portion of the car of this frame rail, and the other one will be just on the inside. So this inside one is for the lower. I ran it down through here, back behind this frame right here. To put a pan underneath the car. This hose right here gets disconnected from here. This one is the water pump, right? Yeah, this one's the water pump. Disconnected it right from there. I left the factory hose on there. Put the end in with the fitting on it already. Slide that in. Clamp it down with the supplied clamp. And then just make sure it reaches up top of the car. Trim any, if you want to trim the excess off, you can. It's not a crazy amount of excess. You can trim it, leave it, and then you do the same thing for the upper hose. Run it down, it stays on the outside portion of the frame rail. Run it down, I ran mine behind. And then this hose back here goes up here. I cut the elbow off just because I don't plan on going back. Pop it off, and then I left the rubber hose, the hose on it from the thermostat housing. Put the union in, clamped it down, and then I threw a zip tie. With the supplied zip ties, just zip tie them in place. And then with filling it, it took about 1.5 gallons to fill. Because it is a dual core, 2-row radiator, dual core radiator, it will hold a lot more coolant. For the overflow bottle, basically I remove this from the front of the car. So to do that, you come to the front. If you have a windshield, remove your windshield. There'll be 2 5mm Allens up top there. Grab here, pull up, slide it forward and lift out. And then your overflow bottle sits right here. It's held in by 2 10mm bolts. Pop those out, pop the hoses off, and remove your bottle. Then you come back here, is what I did, with the supplied nut, bolt. It's a nylock nut, spacer, washer, and the bolt. You're gonna wanna pop inside here. There's gonna be a metal, a little bushing. Just pop that out. It just pushes right out. You'll push from here out and it'll pop right out. It's not really held in. Slide your nut. The supplied spacer right back there. And on the back side, you'll put your washer and nylock nut to hold it in place for the top and bottom. And then the hose gets run underneath the radiator up, and it's already clamped on here, so you'll just run it down, back, behind, underneath, and connect it right down there at the bottom. And then for this line here, I left this one on from the factory. This is the factory line. It's just, if it ever overheats and boils over, which now that it's in the back, shouldn't have that issue, at least from mud. I ran mine right through here. I pulled this little push pin out, and I ran it down underneath, so it drains right there. May have to trim a little bit of that off. I think it's pretty long from the factory. Now for the wiring harness, everything's already taped up, heat trunk soldered from here at this point. So then you'll run it down. You'll use the supplied zip tie, wrap it around, screw it down. There's nothing under here, so I'll supply you with the screws. You'll probably just want to hit it with a, I believe it's 7/64 drill bit. It's a little smaller than that because it's only drilling into the plastic. That'll expand the plastic and give you a nice snug fit. So then you one here, drill a hole through there, and then it'll come out right here on this side of the frame rail. I ran it right along this frame rail here, behind this plastic piece, comes down here, and then goes back there. I ran it with my Razorback gauge, so I already had an existing hole. If you don't have an existing hole for a Razorback gauge or anything like that run, come in here, just lift up on this plastic, it comes out. If you just pop a hole right here, right above this right here, there's nothing back there. Just pop a hole, fish the wire through. You're going to want to take at least your bottom seat pan out. I have to remove my whole seat. I've aftermarket it. There's a push pin here. You'll remove this push pin. There's one here, and there's another one right here. There's a 10mm bolt down there, and there's one here, and then there's another push pin down here that holds this plastic in. Pop that out, and I just ran it right with the factory wiring harness that's down here. I ran it right along that. It goes out, and then to the front of the car, it just kind of opens up, and then you'll see your radiator fan down there. And just connect, you'll have two connectors like this. Let's see. You have two of these. They're the no strip connectors. So you just slide one end in. The end from the fan, the wiring harness on the fan goes through this one. And then the other one clamps on, for the factory wiring harness, clamps on here. And then pinch down on this, and then you've got a working fan. This will go down, and it strips the wire and makes the electrical connection needed. You'll have one for each side. Now the black goes to black, red goes to blue. So basically, just remember, black is ground. So put the black to black and you're good, and the red will go to the blue or whatever. If it varies, mine was blue, so if it varies, red goes to that color, black goes to black. And that's basically the install for it. It's pretty straightforward. With this upgrade, I haven't seen temperatures over 200. I don't even think I've reached 200 degrees. And I went through some pretty thick mud. If you saw one of my last video post, you know, for this radiator kit, my machine was covered in mud. So, and I never saw temperatures over 200. Once the fans kick on, they kick off, you know, a couple seconds later because it drops the temp from factory. So once again, I just want to say thank you for purchasing the kits. Let your buddies know if they need one. You know, I can to message me, and we can work something out, and I can hopefully work something out for them. Now, I guess, like I said, thank you for purchasing the kit. Any questions, comments, concern, don't hesitate to message me. Also, if you could, like and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. It's Buggy BroZ. We'll have some DIY videos, and you know, on there. I think we recently did a clutch, and we're in the process of getting that one uploaded. We did an oil mod. I'll be doing a DIY oil mod on this one. So that's another thing I could also have to offer in the future. And if you know somebody who doesn't want to go through all this work, we're also making the mud guards that go to the front, that just one way it would bolt here and kind of block it off from here, and then it does the same thing on the driver's side. It'll basically go from here to back here, and it just basically keeps all the mud from the tires kicking on. We're in the process of working on those. So if you know somebody who doesn't want to go through what you're about to go through, which is only about an hour and a half worth of work, if you take your time, and they don't want to go through that, we will have the mud guards for the front. So yeah, like I said, any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to message me. Thanks.